Before I got jacked, there's just things I didn't understand about going to the gym and building an insane physique. And that's probably why I didn't have a crazy physique back then, because I just didn't understand these things. Here's 5 things I wish I knew about getting jacked sooner. Firstly, getting jacked takes so long. It takes time, and it just takes consistency and discipline. Consistency is one of the most important factors that consider how jacked you can get, because really think about it like this. 1 year is gonna pass. Would you rather 1 year passes and you stay the same version of yourself, the same physique, the same amount of muscle, you just stay the same, you don't really improve or change? Or would you rather 1 year passes and you just stuck to it, you stayed consistent, you did a few things every single day that led you to having an insane physique after 1 year? I'd rather choose the option where, yeah, 1 year passes, yes, 1 year can be a long time, 1 year feels like a long time if you just focused on an end goal. I'd rather choose that option though, because I'd rather eventually get my dream physique rather than say, oh no, 1 year is too long, let me not try, and then I don't try, and 1 year passes and I'm the same version of myself. I'd rather a year passes and I just slowly get my dream physique in the end and eventually get my dream physique. So you want to focus on building habits and systems. You want training to become a habit. You want your food intake, your calorie intake, you want all of that to become a habit whereby you don't even think about that. You're not even thinking about the end goal. You just want to slowly, eventually, somehow, boom, you wake up and you got your dream physique. You wake up and you got 5 extra kgs of lean muscle mass. You wake up and boom, you've got that physique because you had the systems dialed in. You're not thinking of, yes, I'm going to get this physique then. You're just slowly, consistently getting to your goal. So much so that you reach your goal and you don't even realize it. And then boom, you realize you've reached your goal and you're like, how did this happen? But it's because you got those systems of consistency. You have to realize that recovery is as important as training. Back then, when I didn't have an insane physique, guess what I was doing? I was training 6 times a week because I thought, yeah, the more you train, the bigger you get, the stronger you get. But no, recovery is one of the most important aspects of your physique. Recovery is when the muscle actually gets bigger. Your muscle doesn't get built in the gym. In fact, your muscle is actually broken down in the gym. Your muscle gets smaller in the gym. Your muscle fibers tear, and that's how they get rebuilt up. But they only get rebuilt when you're recovering. So back then when I was training 6 times a week, my physique wasn't progressing. I wasn't progressing. You have to focus on training somewhere around 3 to 4 times a week. You have to experiment on your own. You have to see your training volume. You have to see what can you truly recover from. But I can guarantee you're not going to recover from 6 times a week. And if you're training 5 times a week, it means you're not training hard enough. You have to train extremely hard, and you have to focus on session to session progression. What this looks like is, boom, I did 100 kgs on leg extensions for 12 reps on Monday. The next time I train legs, I want to be doing 100 kgs for 15 reps, or I want to move up to 105 kgs and do that for 8 reps. And then the next session, you want to move up again. You want to be progressing literally session to session, either improving on reps or actually increasing the weight. You increasing the weight sends a signal to your brain saying that we're not strong enough, we need more muscle. That's why you need to really push yourself, because if you don't push yourself, you're not sending that signal to your brain saying that we're not strong enough, we need more muscle if we're gonna survive. That's the whole thing about building muscle, is your body genuinely thinks that you need that muscle to survive. That's why you have to push yourself really hard, almost till failure, so that your body's like, oh, we don't have enough muscle mass to survive out here. We need more muscle mass in order for us to survive. And that's why you need to set that recovery in place so that you can actually recover from those hard sessions. Because the truth is, if you're training 6 times a week, it means you're not going hard enough and you're not recovering. If you're training 3 to 4 times a week, it means you can actually go hard enough. Your nervous system is recovering. Your muscles are recovering. Oh, but I train a different muscle group. Yeah, but you forget that your nervous system also recovers. Your nervous system is what drives the power into your muscle to be able to do a certain rep. If your nervous system is 80%, you can only drive 80% of your max amount of effort into the muscle to actually do that rep. But if your nervous system is 100% recovered, you drive in 100% of your full muscular potential into that muscle to be able to do that rep. So you actually want to recover properly your nervous system also, so that you can push harder in the gym, and you actually enjoy workouts more when they're less frequent. If you're going to the gym 6 times a week, sometimes it can just become annoying. But if you go into the gym 4 times a week, you have that itch. If you're going to the gym 3 times a week, you know you don't go that often, so you have that itch, you have that desire to train, and you have that desire to push yourself harder because you know that you don't get that many sessions in. A lot of people don't realize how important sleep is, but I realized that when I was getting good night's sleep, I was able to push myself harder in the gym firstly, but also when I was getting a good night's sleep, I was able to build more muscle and lose body fat. My fat loss journey was really at its worst when I wasn't getting good sleep. I was actually losing muscle at some point, because your body is more likely to tap into muscle fibers instead of fat loss if you don't get enough sleep. So you have to actually aim to get that 8 hours of sleep. A rule I follow is the 3-2-1 rule. It means 3 hours before bed, no food. 2 hours before bed, no liquids. 1 hour before bed, no phone, cellular devices, or blue light. So much so to the point where I'm actually gonna get blue light filtering glasses, which allows me to wind down better, because when you have blue light, it sends a signal to your brain saying that no, the sun's still up. Your body doesn't know the difference between the light from the ceiling, the light from your phone versus the sun. You need that blue light filtering so that you can send a signal to your brain that it's time to go to sleep. Build, then reveal. A lot of people want to get lean, they want to get shredded, they want to get 10%, 12% body fat, but the most optimal body fat for building muscle is not going to be that lean aesthetic look. It's going to be 15%. Some people it might be 18%. So you want to build your physique first and then cut down later on. So don't focus on cutting down too early. A lot of people ruin their potential and their progress because they cut down too early. They cut down too soon. You want to be around 15 to 18% body fat, and then you can cut down later on. Like, you always build muscle faster when you're at a higher body fat than at a lower body fat. Don't shoot the messenger. It's true. I've experienced it. Now, you don't have to go crazy and go to like 20 something percent body fat. You don't have to get fat. You don't have to get chubby. You just need to get to the point where your abs are almost not visible. That's the best point for muscle growth. The next thing is realizing that diet is cornerstone. Diet is more than 80 to 90% of fitness. Back then, when I wasn't eating enough protein, I wasn't having enough calories, I had this weird skinny fat look. If you really want to make insane progress, if you really want to look good, then you have to dial in your diet. But what does diet entail? Firstly, I followed the 80-20 formula. It means 80% of the food I was eating comes from real, organic, conventional, healthy food. This is stuff like lean meat, rice for carbs. This is food that's from the ground, from the earth. These are the foods that we are meant to be eating, that has actual micronutrients that will build our physique. Not only that though, but 20% of the time, then I could eat the processed food, then I could eat the McDonald's, then I could eat the KFC, then I could eat I don't even eat sweets these days, but if I wanted to, I can 20% of the time. It means that I'll get 80% of the results without having to restrict myself too much, because if you're too restrictive, that's what will make you quit and give up on your fitness journey. You want to be restrictive 80% of the time, and 20% of the time you're like, okay, yeah, I can get what I want. It will keep you motivated on your journey. But really, with 2 grams of protein per kg of body weight, it really looks like this. If you weigh 70 kgs and you're having 2.2 grams of protein, that's 150 grams of protein per day. That's how much protein you should be eating to maximize muscle growth. For me, I would be getting my protein from mainly clean, whole, organic meats. Eat eggs also, because they have a lot of amino acids. Whatever I can't get from clean, whole, organic food, I'll then supplement with like protein powder. Lastly, you have to understand that supplements are 1%ers. They don't really make an insane difference, but they do boost you up a little bit. Creatine, I would say, is a 5 to 10%er, especially if you haven't used creatine your entire life and then you start using creatine. You will notice like a slight bump in performance. So yes, get onto creatine, get onto protein powder. Just know that these things alone will not build an insane physique. You have to put in the work, you have to get those workouts in, you have to get your recovery in, and you have to get your diet dialed in, and that's what will truly make you insane.